I'm done. That was easy, but I'm sure we can all agree, having heard of a 12-step program, that it is something worth celebrating, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And definitely something very spiritual, yes?
Yes.
And something which promotes spiritual tools, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess that really fits into a lot of what we do here at Gathering of Light. Here working on spiritual tools, constantly offering spiritual tools to help each other to continue to grow spiritually. And one of the wonderful things, and that Bill Wilson said was one of the most important lines that he ever wrote was, as you understand him after he wrote the Word of God. As you understand him. And I think even if he was here today, I don't think Bill would even said him. He would have really opened up the barriers to that, what he meant, and he did it wonderfully for his time. And I think that it was just that he was, again, being that channel that we've talked about so many times here, that channel for letting love and light come into our society, into our world at a time before we knew it was time. It's that faithful Father idea in the song that we heard, that this divinity knows us so well that it put together this process to help us deal with addiction before we became the absolute addictive society we are today. So here it was saying, I'm going to catch you. I have something ready for you. When you get to that point, I'm going to be one step out of you and I'm going to be ready there for you. But the thing is, always, 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 we have free will. And it is up to us to let go and let that divine catch us. Over and over again. And one of the other things, the wonderful things that this program talks about is that taking everything a day at a time. That it's always a daily spiritual routine that we come to. That each and every one of us in all our spiritual traditions are asked to daily practice all the things that we're doing. To daily put into place the tools that are needed. And to keep going every day. And if we need something stronger, pick up a new tool and keep going and keep working at it. Now, as I said before, that we have become definitely this addictive society. So keeping that in mind, I'd like to just present to you something that I really love. It's this one-liner here, but I want you to fill in the blank with whatever let's take a moment just to be honest, it's just with yourself and your higher power here today. Whatever it is that is your thing. You know, is it Alcoholics Anonymous came about from alcohol. Then we have Narcotics Anonymous. And then we have Al-Anon that deals with the family members. Or we have codependents, people that are dependent upon people doing what they're supposed to do and being part of that. We have eating. We have things with sugar. We have things with gambling. We have things with shopping. We have things with video games. We have things with, you name it, you pick it, it's yours. Fill in the blank with them. So I'm going to give you the line. The line is, I now surrender everything. Everybody, I now surrender everything. Fill in your blank. Means to me. Means to me. Trusting that God will put something incomparably better in its place.
Incomparably better in its place.
That's a big difference in saying, I got to stop doing that. I can't do that. I shouldn't do that. This is, I surrender. I choose. I like the word surrender too because it's more like that feeling of letting go. Jumping into those arms and when we talked about that chant, when you really get into it, it says it's time to fly. The words say it's time to fly. That's what surrender is. Surrender is that flying. It's like that mother bird kicking the little bird off and out of the tree. It says, it's time to fly, little chick. It's time to fly. And that's what it is when we surrender. I surrender everything that thing used to mean to me. Because that's what happened. It meant something. We picked it up for a reason. And all of us are survivors. We pick up things to get by. We pick up things because we think it's going to help us. And hey, it got us to this point because we're here today. Today we can choose. Today we can choose. And Bill Wilson was very big on this, and it was very hard for him too. He didn't like all this organized stuff. He didn't like all the other things of religion. It was very, very hard for him to let go. And it wasn't until his friend told him, hey, you know, you can use your interpretation of God. Your interpretation of what you're going to surrender into. Because Bill also, he had vision and he could see that a lot of things happen in the universe. And there's a lot of unexplained things out there. And he knew there was something else. He just didn't like the contrived version that everybody kept forcing on him. But he trusted in something innately deep within him. And that's what each one of us are asked to do with that. To trust in this, to let go. And we come here each week and we give you more spiritual tools to help you to let go. But part of this process is getting very honest with yourself and saying, what are you holding on to? What are you holding on to? And I know it means a lot to you. I know it is taking you to this place. But I'm telling you right now, if you are hearing these words, that whatever it is, it's time to let it go. And I know we've all loved those things. Even if it's a person that we love so dearly. To be so attached to them. To be so dependent upon them behaving in a certain way. Can kill us. Can literally kill us. And that's what addiction means, and that's what it ultimately does. Those things that we've been justifying. I know that some of us have been challenged to do some health changes in our lives. And, you know, that's all fine, but just to get honest and look at some of the things that, do we really have to have them? Some of the things that I think I said, I have to have. What would happen if I just surrendered it? Just for the day. Do you see how this works? Just for the day. And watch how the divine catches me. And brings something new and something different in. Because the other part of all that, thy will, not mine be done. What that thy will is something amazing. You know, in that meditation we heard today, in the background was always that thy will. Didn't it give you some goosebumps, right? That idea of that thy will be done, thy will be done. It's like this sense of anticipation, this sense of wonderment, of grandeur, of excitement. Something great is coming and happening in our lives and with us. That this stirring is coming out. And that trust that we will be able to fly, to go beyond what we ever dreamed imaginable. Other quotes that come about in the 12-step programs is, don't quit till the miracle happens. Miracles are being promised. And what those miracles is that God can kind of do for us what we can't do for ourselves. That can lift us into, in our words of wisdom, the words that were come out of the big book that says that what they've done is that all they need to do is to pick up the simple kit of spiritual tools. All that we need to do is simply pick up these kit. And what they found is much of heaven. And they've been rocketed forth into a fourth dimension of existence of which we had not even dreamed. That's pretty amazing. Not waiting for heaven. But this is that idea of heaven on earth, here and now, with us, each and every one of us. And it's too long to go through all the steps here and now today. The first three basically summed up, I can't, God can, let me let him. Or whatever way you can put it, I can't, the divine can, I'm going to let it. I can't, but there is this amazing universe that's juggling planets and galaxies that can. I think I'm going to let it. And kind of solve things a little bit better than I can. Jumping into that, connecting with that. But I want to jump down to that 11th step. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with that God as we understand it. That conscious contact. Not this far away, not this some other day, this very tangible, concrete, here and now contact that they sought. Keep going. Bring it in every day. I saw it each and every day. I do it every day. In the early days of AA, there weren't many meetings. And so they weren't pushing really to go to a meeting. As today, you can go to a meeting 24/7 anywhere about any kind of thing. But what they said was most important was take 20 minutes a day in silence and listen. That was what they said is that conscious contact. Stop and listen. Take in that silence and make it a part of you. That's what they promoted. And that's what they promised. And I'm challenging each and every one of you to start this day and take 20 minutes of silence and do it for 30 days straight. And I guarantee you that you will be rocketed forth into a new dimension. Some stirring within you is going to really take off and fly. And that you can come to have this more tangible, conscious contact with the divine as you understand it. That step goes on to say, praying only for knowledge of his will for me and the power to carry that out. Imagine that, using all our time and energy in our prayers to say, what would you have me do? Instead of, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? I want this, I want that. Instead of all of that, saying, what would you have me do? Show me where I can fly. Show me where I can excel. Bring forth this excitement and this power into me. Because you know what it says after that? It says that praying only for the knowledge of his will for me, knowing that he will give me the strength to carry it out. So maybe that's why we get so exhausted and run down. Maybe we're not going in the right direction when we're doing these things. And as we let go and let God, that power of the universe comes behind our intentions. They get redirected, and thy will, not mine, is done. And is done effortlessly. Because it's done with grace. Doesn't mean we don't put footwork in. But it means that there is a certainty. See the difference? A certainty that all is well. What a way to live. And a certainty that all is well. And that's all what we all want. Today, we do the best we can. We take in this day, we do the best we can with what we have. But we build on that certainty of the divine. And one step at a time, no matter what, the steps will carry us over any barriers. And love will be all that we see on the horizon. So this day, remember the challenge to keep that faith, to surrender to love, and to try some silence a day at a time in your life. So it is.
So it is.